Hey, this is Henry Sanders back for another episode of Real Talk. We want to thank our sponsor over at Park Bank. Thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you for investing in us, especially at this time with the COVID-19. We thank you for all your support. Again, we have another friend of ours on, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Happy to be back. Happy to be among the living. Honestly, that's a very real thing. It's not hyperbolic to say that. We're seeing so many people who are getting affected, and a lot of people who are losing their lives.
Yeah, well, especially young black men too. I mean, black folks are really, from my understanding, 45 people have died, and in Milwaukee County, at least, and 33 are black.
Well, that was the thing. Like there are 77 deaths now in the state, but when there were 68 deaths in the state, 34 were from Milwaukee alone. So,
yeah, it's a lot to take in. It's serious. You think people are taking it more serious now in the state?
I do, but I also think people are growing a little bit restless, and which is a concern, especially as the weather changes, as the weather turns. You're going to see more people who are, eager to get outside and shouldn't be outside. Or, it's not that you shouldn't be outside, but like that, I feel like people are going to slowly creep into socializing and normal sized gatherings again. And that's not what we need right now, because we're nowhere near our peak. We're projected, as of a couple of weeks ago, we were projected to peak at the end of this month. So we'll see how that goes, but that only accounts for safe social distancing being assumed throughout the entire process. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And then we also have election stuff going on. I'm thankful that the governor called for this election that will take place tomorrow to be held off until June.
Yeah, June 9th, right? I think makes sense. I mean, you don't want to get people in one place, and when this virus is spreading so fast, we don't really know how to contain it. That makes sense that you would postpone it. Actually, the Republicans are mad about it, right? Are they upset about it?
Yeah, they are upset about it, and it's unfortunate. But the thing is, they know that low turnout elections typically favor them, and they have their eye on keeping this Supreme Court seat. Donald Trump has already, endorsed, their candidate, Dan Kelly, and so with that being said, they would be, in favor of keeping the election day as it is, to keep a low turnout. So that people's voices across the state won't be heard in a proportionate way. But also, we can look at Michigan too, because there's been a link to Michigan's election and their outbreak of COVID-19. So there's already an established link that in-person voting could have potentially led to the further spread of COVID-19 in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the right decision for the governor. Why take a risk for anyone's lives right now? And I hate that politics are being involved when it comes to people's lives right now. And, if you got the best candidate, your candidate will win in June. If they win today, they'll win in June. If you got the best candidate that put the campaign together, they'll win, right?
That's the thing, and I'm glad you mentioned that about people putting their lives at risk. People die for the right to vote. People shouldn't die going to vote. Right.
So what are you, for this week, knowing that I keep hearing from all the experts that these next few weeks are going to be the big weeks, especially these next 2 weeks are the big weeks for people, that these are weeks that we're expecting that we could sadly see a lot more deaths. What are you doing right now for yourself and your staff to make sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves? And what are you guys telling other people to do at this time, especially in government, to kind of take care of themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Most offices in state government are hardly staffed at the moment. Everybody's working from home for the most part. I pop in my office every few days, and there's one other person here when I'm here, and that's the norm around most other offices, and it should be throughout the duration. It's and the thing too about we obviously want to keep ourselves safe, but we need to make sure that those around us are safe also.
Do you think all the stuff going on in Milwaukee, have you heard of any game plan around how to deal with all these wonderful black folks who are getting sick and who also are dying? Has there been a game plan to wrap around, like, how do we triage this? How do we get our hands around this community? What's going on in Milwaukee?
I'll tell you, man, it's a much deeper problem. This has been around, these problems that we're seeing played out and are being highlighted by COVID-19. These problems have always existed when it comes to wealth inequality, when it comes to environmental issues, when it comes to access to quality and affordable health care. Those problems long persisted. The COVID-19 just came around and highlighted those flaws in our system as it stands. One of the hallmark pieces of Governor Everett's budget last year was Medicaid expansion, and that was taken out of the budget by Republicans on the Joint Finance Committee. That would have made sure that some 80,000 or so more people in our state would have had access to Badger Care as their sole source of health insurance. Without that, you got to think about 80,000 people who probably are just going to go without, because these are folks who are living on the margins where it'll be tough. They'll break the bank trying to pay for private insurance, or end up, making less money than they made in the long run because of the money that they have to pay for private health insurance. Also, these are people who aren't getting regular checkups. These are people who are probably a little bit hesitant to go to the doctor if they feel sick because they don't want that surprise bill. And I mean, you look at other factors that, predate my political existence, essentially predate my biological existence when it comes to redlining. Other historical factors that have played out and have negatively impacted by race. I mean, the health disparities that continue to exist fall along the same trend lines of the impact of COVID-19 on the Black community.
Yeah. So I know the federal government is putting a stimulus package together that they've passed and putting out to the people. Are you concerned about Wisconsin? I've heard a lot of different data, some true, some not. But I've heard in 90 days, 30% of nonprofits are going to close nationwide. I don't know if that's true or not. But you hear stuff like that. That's like Dane County, for example, has about 4,800 nonprofits. That's a lot of nonprofits. And we have small businesses who are closing. The barbershop are closed. Do you think, do you and the government ever talk about what we can do as a state to deal with those issues and help people when this is over?
Well, we definitely talk about it, but also you got to think about the fact that, people who've been laid off aren't going to be paying income taxes. And if people aren't paying income taxes, that is going to do damage on your state budget. And if you don't have that revenue coming in, and again, that's not a thing that's just present here in Wisconsin. It's all over the country. And these are challenges that aren't unique to us, like whether it's nonprofits that aren't going to reopen their doors anymore, or small businesses that run the risk of not being able to open their doors anymore. This is something we've absolutely, had a chance to discuss, but figuring out that solution, I won't sit here and say that we have that solution just yet, but it's something that we have to work on for the long-term viability, of our state, for the short term too. You can't have, us on the other end of COVID-19 and a whole bunch of people out of work. I mean, that'll put us in places far worse than a recession. That'll put us in depression era. That will put us in the depression era statistically. Even worse in many instances. I mean, I think in the Depression, the unemployment rate got up to about 25%. I could be wrong there, but we're projected to get to 33% unemployment at some point in time.
Wow. Okay, so last time we talked, you told me about The Tiger King. I think it was the Netflix movie, right? I watched it, and now everyone's watched it. So, you're like a guru when it comes to Netflix. You're my guru. So what are you watching now that I should go and watch?
Yeah, I'm here to help out where I can. So I've actually gone back to an older show that came out in 2010 on HBO, and I guess a whole lot of people didn't watch it, but it was a pretty good show. But that was like The Wire. The Wire was like the best show on TV, but people didn't watch it for whatever reason. But now everybody's coming around to it. But this is another show written by David Simon. The story is also done by Anthony Bourdain. And it's called Treme, and it takes place in post-Katrina New Orleans. It's not as intense as The Wire, but it's a really solid storyline, man. It's only 4 seasons, 38 total episodes. I think it's worth checking out. I like it. It's it's a good story. It's not gonna leave the same impact as Tiger King, but it's a good show in my opinion.
Your track record is good with me, man. Like, look, I had no idea what the Tiger King was. You told me about it. I was texting you. Remember, I was texting like, "Wow, this is crazy."
Yeah,
great show. And before we go, tell people what you're doing to keep yourself healthy, so they know that as Lieutenant Governor, you're a busy man, helping lead the state of Wisconsin. But what are you doing at this time to keep yourself healthy, so people know that's important that you still keep active?
Yep, I am maintaining my distance. I am, popping into the office only when necessary. I'll step outside every now and then to get a breath of fresh air so I don't lose my mind. But these are very trying times, and we have to take we have to undergo some very desperate measures to make sure that we get out on the other side of this alive, and that our loved ones are alive and healthy as well. So maintaining that distance.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats a day. You should be doing it with me, bro. That's what you should be doing, man.
I'm down. I mean,
you should match me. You should match me with these 100 sit-ups, bro. Let's get this popping. Let's do this.
I'm more than happy to do that.
That's all right. Next time we get you on, let's see how we'll talk about it. We can do this tomorrow.
We can do it today.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, I appreciate it. And I'm serious. Hey, Wisconsin, I'm serious. I'm serious. All right, you heard what your Lieutenant Governor said. It is what it is now. So, thank you for what you're doing. Stay safe. Keep us up to date. We'd love to have you more often, weekly if we can, to have you come on. I think it's important for what you're doing. Thank you for the PSA you did for us. That was wonderful. Had a great response.
No doubt.
And you are a shining star for us in the state. And keep doing what you're doing. Please keep us in the loop. And we'll be praying for you and praying for the governor and all the wonderful stuff you guys are doing. And it's a tough time to lead, but this is when leaders lead, right? So thank you for all you're doing.
I appreciate it, man. God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you. And we'll see you next time, Real Talk. And thanks again for Lieutenant Governor for joining us.